and that's called the revenue limit. So watch the red line, we're going to talk about it a lot. How do we get to the revenue limit dollars? Well, first, in most communities called the revenue limit districts, local property tax make up a portion of the dollars we need to get to the revenue limit, and the state contributes the rest to backfill. On top of that, for all schools, there's usually categorical funding. Categorical funding is funding for special programs, so it includes mentor-teacher funding, it includes class size reduction, sometimes called 20-to-1, it includes special ed funding, it includes funding for English language learners, it includes funding for disadvantaged students. So that categorical funding you'll see in all school districts. On top of that, there's leases, donations, other kinds of funding, and for a few lucky school districts, there are parcel taxes. This is the way 90 to 95% of the districts in the state of California are funded. The other 5 to 10% are called basic aid school districts. This includes Fremont Union High School District, and that simply means that the percent of local property taxes that we're entitled to get us past the red line. We don't choose it. We don't say, hey, I want to be a revenue limit district. It happens because our percent of property taxes pushes above that limit. Above that, we get categorical funding, we get the leases and revenues, and we're one of the few lucky districts that indeed has a parcel tax. So you're either revenue limit or basic aid. Some districts like Sunnyvale Elementary move in and out of basic aid, depending on how the blue bar works for them. Where does attendance come in? People have heard a lot about average daily attendance. If you have your own kids, you know you have to call in if your kids are sick, and that's because excused absences count. Revenue limit districts receive more dollars for more kids. So they get that green bar that the state backfills, you get more of those dollars if you have more students. But if you're a basic aid school district, you have that basic blue bar, and the more kids you get, the fewer dollars per kid you get, because that blue bar doesn't change based on attendance. So one of the reasons that we started our enrollment effort, and a few of you may be aware of it, we did a real residency check, and we've worked very hard to ensure that the kids who attend our schools live within the limits of our school district. The reason that we did that was because that was the way to ensure that the dollars we had from property tax were actually spent on students who live within the district. So that was strictly a dollars and cents matter and a way of respecting the property tax that our community gives us. So total revenue dollars per student. We live in a wealthy area, right? People move here because they don't want to go to school in Eastside Union High School District or San Jose Unified School District, right?
Right.
Right.
Look where we are. Average, this is total revenues per student. Palo Alto, almost 13,000 and a half. Sequoia is almost 13. Mountain View is 12.2. San Mateo 11.4, Los Gatos Saratoga 10.8, San Jose Unified 10.5, Eastside 9.5, statewide average 9.5, Campbell 9, almost 3. Here we are.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is terrible.
Those children do need more help in those other areas. Just kidding.
They get more categorical dollars to do it. Okay. So let's talk down. Is there a question in your mind from that last slide?
No.
Why is that?
Why is that? Thank you. Okay, it's because, here we're back at the revenue limit. Here's Palo Alto Unified, big blue bar. Lots of local property tax. But even they get categorical dollars because they have English language learners, they have special ed kids, they have lots of leases and donations, and a parcel tax, I know I pay it, of $500 a parcel, which translates to $914 per kid. Mountain View, Los Altos, even bigger blue bar. Same two things with categoricals and leases and donations. They don't have a parcel tax, their superintendent says, because we don't need one. This is Eastside Union High School District. Smaller blue bar, backfilled from the state, big categorical funds, just what I said, more money to take care of the kids that need it, and a nice donation and leases. And here we are. We're barely over the red line. We're glad for it. Don't get me wrong, I want that $160 a kid. But we're barely over the red line. We have categorical funds, and the $98 parcel tax translates to about $500 a kid. You still have a question? Who wants to know why the Blue Bar's bigger in Mountain View than it was in Palo Alto?
Because Los Altos is included, I think.
No? Glenn's going to tell you.
It's a different kind of thing altogether.
It's about ratios. Eastside Union, if you divide the number of high school kids by the number of single-family residences, which you can get straight from the assessor's report,
That includes condos.
along with the value, you get 4.5 houses supporting each high school student with an average value of $374 apiece. So that's what's generating the property tax. Move to Fremont Union High School, an extra half a house and slightly more highly valued houses. Palo Alto, almost another half a house supporting each high school student and a significantly higher assessed value. And finally, Mountain View, Los Altos, 7.5 single-family residences supporting each high school student. So like many things in California public school finance, you can't look at a single number, like what's the property tax base. It's often ratios, it's often interactions of numbers that end up with the result. You have a low population, high school student population density in the Mountain View, Los Altos area versus the Fremont Union High School District area. We don't, you guys probably know this more than the average public, but the reason we don't bother putting business up here is pre-Prop 13, business supported 2/3 of property tax. 30 years later, business supports 1/3 of property tax. 2/3 comes from single-family residents.
By the way, this is Glenn Evans, and he's really our operations officer, and we stole him from business, and we're thrilled to have him with us.
Of course, in like Mountain View or Palo Alto, or any city, if the kids go to private school, that's not in this ratio, right?
It's not in the ratio, but the truth of the matter is, for elementary school, we do see a significant number of kids in all these districts going to private school. But when they come to high school, you would be shocked at the number of kids who come back to us at high school level.
They run out of money.
Or they decide we're good enough and they don't need to pay for it, which we are.
You are correct. It is since the private school students are not in the census of the school district, if you had half the students going to private school, that would increase the dollars per student for the public school students.
So that would be helpful to us.
Question?
Yes.
I'm confused a little bit on the way the ratios work there. It would seem to me that east side, being that the homes have such smaller lots, well, parcels, isn't it how many houses there are?
Well, right, the number, based on the number of parcels that are in the Eastside Union High School District's boundaries, divided by the number of students, each student is supported by 4.7 homes, including condos.
It just seems with a denser amount of lot sizes, I would think they'd be pretty much proportional. They'd probably have a higher,
They have
more students.
They have more kids per.
Lot sizes.
The districts don't have same acreage.
You don't have any money to go out, so they...
Density kids.
Are the districts same size, same acreage? See, that's the thing.
No. No, we're actually pretty large for a school district boundary.
What is the effect of turnover in a house where the property tax goes up maybe 10 times compared to what the people who had been living?
That affects that does affect our property tax, and of course, we've benefited from that.
So if we do a better job and sell more houses,
Would you please sell them to couples whose children have also gone to college already? That would also help. No, I'm kidding.
That's not who buys in our area.
I know. I'm just teasing.
I
Yes.
have a question. Why don't we seek dollars from state funding in high school district? Because if we compare to Palo Alto and Mountain View, they're getting...
This process is called equalization. There is talk on the table about it. I frankly don't think in my lifetime it's going to happen. There's lots of talk about this. If you look statewide, what you'll see is that more and more funding for schools is really happening based on local dollars. That's why there are parcel taxes. That's why there are other kinds of efforts, including donations, to help schools run. But the truth of the matter is, it's such a complex system to unwind and to figure out. It would be very difficult. We were used as an example last Friday as a